Turkey says it will send troops to help Azerbaijan if requested. Meanwhile, Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev says the country's army had liberated 21 more villages in Fuzuli, Jabrayil and Zangilan provinces from Armenian occupation. Turkey's Vice President Fuat Oktay has said Ankara will not hesitate to send soldiers and provide military support for Azerbaijan if such a request is made by Baku, and added that there was no such request at the moment. Earlier, Armenia's Prime Minister said he saw no possibility of a diplomatic solution at this stage in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict with Azerbaijan. Ankara has vowed full solidarity with Baku and has accused Yerevan of occupying Azerbaijan lands. Speaking in an interview with broadcaster CNN Turk on Wednesday, Oktay also criticized the OSCE's Minsk group, formed to mediate the conflict and led by France, Russia and the United States, are trying to keep the issue unresolved and supporting Armenia, both politically and militarily. Azerbaijan liberates 21 villages, town from occupation. The Azerbaijani army has liberated 21 more villages in Fuzuli, Jabrayil and Zangilan provinces from Armenian occupation, Azerbaijan's president announced. Azerbaijan's glorious army has liberated Jejigozlu, Asharbisade Amadli and Zerja villages of Fuzuli district, Baland, Papi, Tulis, Hijili and Tinli villages of Jabrayil district. Long live Azerbaijan's army. Karabakh is Azerbaijan. Ilham Aliyev said on Twitter. In another tweet, Aliyev said the army has also liberated Minjivan town, and Karama, Kumali, Sarol, Babaili, Achunju Agali, Hijali, Jirik Muslan, Urjan, Turabad, Ichari Muslan, Milikli, Jihanjabali and Bahali villages of Zangilan district from the Armenian occupation. Amid ongoing clashes, the Azerbaijani army has so far liberated over 130 towns and villages from the Armenian occupation, according to official sources. Zangilan was occupied by Armenian forces on October 29, 1993. Azerbaijan. Armenia disrespectful of international community. An Azerbaijani presidential aide on Wednesday accused Armenia's premier of disrespecting the international community over his recent call on civilians to fight in the front against Azerbaijan in ongoing clashes, to which there would be no diplomatic solution. Arguing that his remarks once again demonstrated that Armenia was not interested at all in the peaceful resolution of the conflict, Aliyev said Yerevan intended to continue occupying Azerbaijani territories. Underlining that Pashinyan recklessly and for the sake of his political ambitions, encouraged all civil bodies and civilians to take up arms, Aliyev said this official position proves which side broke past humanitarian ceasefires and contributed to the escalation of the situation in the region. New clashes. Since fresh clashes erupted on September 27, Armenia has continued its attacks on civilians and Azerbaijani forces, even violating humanitarian ceasefire agreements. In two missile attacks on Gonja, a major Azerbaijani city far from the front line, Armenia killed some 24 civilians, including children, and injured scores more. Last Thursday, Armenia targeted civilians at a cemetery in the western city of Tartar, killing 4 and injuring 4 others. Since October 10, Armenia has violated 2 humanitarian ceasefires in Upper Karabakh, or Nagorno-Karabakh, an internationally recognized territory of Azerbaijan. A new humanitarian ceasefire entered into force last Saturday. NATO is not part of conflict. NATO is not a part of the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh, the bloc's Secretary-General said on Wednesday. I reminded the Armenian president that NATO is not part of this conflict. Both Armenia and Azerbaijan have been valued NATO partners for more than 25 years, said Jens Stoltenberg in a joint news conference with Armenia's President Armen Sarkisyan. NATO is deeply concerned by ongoing violations of the ceasefire, which have caused tragic loss of life, said Stoltenberg, adding that ending hostilities and sufferings is important for both the alliance and international security. It is vital that all sides now show restraint, observe the ceasefire, and de-escalate. Any targeting of civilians is unacceptable and must stop, he said. Upper Karabakh conflict. Relations between the 2 former Soviet republics have been tense since 1991, when the Armenian military occupied Nagorno-Karabakh. 4 UN Security Council resolutions and 2 from the UN General Assembly, as well as international organizations, demand the immediate, complete and unconditional withdrawal of the occupying forces from occupied Azerbaijani territory. In total, about 20% of Azerbaijan's territory, including Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 adjacent regions, has been under Armenian occupation for nearly 3 decades. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, Minsk Group, co-chaired by France, Russia and the US, was formed in 1992 to find a peaceful solution to the conflict, but to no avail. A ceasefire, however, was agreed to in 1994. World powers, including Russia, France and the US, have called for a sustainable ceasefire.